What's good, everybody? Welcome back to the Cloud Slayer channel. Hope you guys are doing well. It is currently Christmas Eve as I'm recording this. I'm trying to get some steps in before bedtime, before tomorrow. Try to work out some of that pie, some of that good holiday food, Had a great time with some family. Finally getting some freaking snow. I thought this was going to be my first ever Christmas where I didn't see any snow. For all you folks that don't know, I live in northern Minnesota, and oh my God, it's abnormal not to have feet of snow. You know what I mean? Especially on Christmas, and finally getting some snowfall. Had a massive amount of rain. So if you live in northern Minnesota, or freaking Minnesota, anyways, because it sounds like everywhere got rain, then freezing snow now. Drive safe, man, especially if you have to travel, and. Just be as slow as you can. Four-wheel drive can't always save you. You know what I mean? Sometimes there ain't shit you can do, and accidents happen. So take your time traveling anywhere. And you know what? I'm glad to see the snow finally, man. It sucks that it feels like more like springtime than it does wintertime during freaking Christmas. It's crazy. It was absolutely crazy. It was like, where was all this rain during springtime? Jeez, we needed all that for our flowers. So but this past year did rain more than the year before. But I only had to cut the grass 2 times year before this past summer, and this past summer we had a drought for a while, and we did get quite a bit of rain. I was cutting the grass quite a bit, That's what I felt like. And, it was, it's kind of weird. So I know that temperatures are record high this year, especially for us and stuff like that. Was that global warming or something? I don't know much about it. I'm not a scientist. I know people talk about it since I was a kid, my whole life, Since I was in elementary school, that was some of the first major topics anybody was always and ever were talking about, right? And I went to elementary school in the 90s, right? So that should tell you something. We were all afraid of like Y2K and stuff like that. When it turned to 2000, we thought the computers were going to take over and weird stuff like that. So they're like, unplug your TV, make sure you do that before you go to bed, and stuff like that. I remember some friends were saying that stuff and stuff like that. I was like, yeah, it's not going to happen. So it never did. It was just a big scare everybody had. They thought it was going to be like that Terminator movie or whatever. And thank God it didn't happen. Thank God none of that happened. And there's still talks about it nowadays, about AI taking over and stuff. So you never know until it happens, I guess. But hopefully not. Hopefully never. Hopefully nobody wants to try to bring that to fruition and try to design an artificial intelligence to try to combat humanity, right? Because if it does and it decides to exterminate human beings, then we're fucked. We're doomed. Robots can squish us pretty easily, but yeah, it is what it is. But hope everybody has a happy holidays. Hopefully you had a great weekend. I'm recording this a little bit early for that day for Christmas because I'm probably not gonna do much recording. After I go for my walk, I'm gonna go help wrap the remaining couple presents we have left. We're slacking, whatever. We just got back into town, so then I'm probably gonna go hit the sauna. So I'm gonna go drive and get me a sweat lodge going on. Just kidding. I want to go to a sweat lodge. It's been a long time, but I've just been going to the sauna since. But it is what it is. I'm gonna probably hit up some bag drills and stuff like that. Might as well do some heavy lifting while I'm all carved up and stuff like that from the delicious holidays. But as usual, I always got to get my steps in. So, for all you guys out there, I know, I've been talking a little bit about trying to be a little bit more active to help the mind combat some of these things, some of these negative thoughts that we have, towards or within our own minds, not towards anything specifically, but that everyday battle that we have, going about it different ways. And sometimes the holidays, that helps cheer us up, especially seeing family members and seeing them smile and laugh and play. Hold those images in your heart, you know what I mean? And especially when you're going through those tough times. I talk about the time when I almost took my own life, right? There was, in my mind, I heard family members, and I seen the images before I went to do that thing. And that's what stopped me from doing those things, right? Stopped me from harming myself and thinking negatively that night when I was going to do the deed, right? And I heard my uncle's voices. I heard my family's voices. I seen images of them being sad, crying over me in my mind, while I was battling my negative self, while I was heavily intoxicated in a really bad place, and some people, they would go through with that, or they would come really close, and I guess I was pretty close too, I guess. So, but I thank God, thank the Creator, thank whoever you believe in, that I did not go through with it that night, and that I did remember those people, that I heard those voices that were always there in my life to help lift me up when they talked about and against these things, a lot of my uncles, they talk about battling addictions and, overcoming drugs and alcohol, and, to remember those, some of the things that they say, because when it comes your time to battle these things, if you ever battle these things, some people never do, they're smart enough, they're strong enough to stay away from it and don't give in to temptations, but good for them, right? And they talked about if you do, and if you had to, that, you got to remember these things. You got to keep trying to carry on, trying to battle through that voice inside you that wants you to fill some kind of void, some emptiness that you think's there, but it's not really there. The emptiness is created from those drugs, from those alcohols, from those addictions, and stuff like that. We create those within ourselves. So we're the only ones that can battle it. We're the only ones that can try to fill those voids. How do you fill those voids? You can temporarily forget about them momentarily. You can do this, that, or another thing, but they always seem to be there, right? And they're always going to be. That's the truth, right? That's just your inner self that you have to battle, and sometimes it sucks to realize, but it's the truth. It's the truth. Not everybody wins that battle. Not everybody can hold their own against themselves, because there ain't nobody else in this world that's gonna kick your ass as much as you kick your own ass. That's what my Uncle Mark always told me. And in the end, he lost his battle with that stuff too. Not that it takes away from him as a man, as a mentor, as an uncle, because it didn't. He did a lot of great work to help a lot of people coming up and to help guide them. I know for sure that he helped me myself. I can't speak for anybody else that he mentored or he helped along his life, along the road in his life, but I know it was a considerable amount of people, and I know for sure he helped me a lot, a lot of things he told me growing up came to light, and it kind of helped ready me for it in a way. Not that I prevented some of it or a lot of it, but more so that Sometimes you're gonna find yourself alone, and you're gonna find that you're kicking your own ass, and that it's still gonna have to be you who seeks help, who seeks different types of things to help pick yourself up, and carry forward and move forward in your life, and to think about those good times with your families, and you know stuff like that, and the words of the people that care for you most, and that had been there when you're thinking negatively of how alone you are and how nobody was there. That sometimes you chose to be alone, that you pushed people away, and that you made yourself alone, and you got nobody to blame but yourself. You gotta, and the only person that can combat that is you, and only you can start gathering people around you, and having them around you a little bit more. But it is what it is. You gotta figure out what's wrong with you as well. So if you don't combat some of those things, then people aren't gonna want to be around you sometimes, because you're choosing to not work on yourself, and be the person you say you are, to being the person that you try to build others to be. Like you could try to tell people to think a certain way, but if your actions are like going against it, then it's going to be counterproductive, right? People are going to see that you're not really doing that stuff, that you're just telling yourself those things, and you're not going through with it, right? And it's it's tough to admit those things to yourself, and to see those things, to see that if you're doing something that you're saying you're doing or not. It's also really easy to get down on yourself, so next time you're feeling down, man, try to think of those good things, think of those good times, and all those good words people said to you over the years. Your uncles, your father, your brother, your sisters, your aunts, whoever. I'm sure there was somebody at one point in your life that tried to steer you into the right direction, that tried to say good words, comforting words for you when you were feeling down. Think about those words, think about those times, and they'll help you. You also gotta work on yourself too, so you gotta keep that in mind as well. Help's never gonna do it for you. You gotta be able to help yourself too. So try to stay positive. Try to keep working hard, and keeping your mind off those things and away from those drugs. Those drugs are gonna pull you into the abyss, pull you into that negative thought, that negative train of mind, and ultimately gonna make you feel so isolated that you want to do something. And it's a sad story that we see so often in poorer communities, right? It doesn't matter what race you are. Suicide, it's a serious matter, and it happens, and it can happen to somebody very dear to you that you didn't know was suffering, didn't know was sad, didn't know felt alone, because sometimes when you see them, they're so happy, they're so bright, they radiate that light, and you can see it, because you can see their potential, but they don't see it. You know what I mean? And it makes, sometimes it's like, it's sad. Oh, man, try not to cry sometimes, but they radiate that light, and they don't see it in themselves sometimes. Had a buddy recently tell me how cool I was or whatever, which I obviously I don't see myself, right? Who sees it themselves? Not everybody, right? And you're like, dude, am I really like that? And you're just like trying not to blush and stuff, and you're like, well, I am, but and then he talks about himself a little bit, and he's like, dude, you're cool too, man. What are you talking about? You're awesome, and stuff like that. And you shine bright, and people love you, and people have nothing but great things to say about you. Obviously, that's how you got to the spot you are, and you know that hard work pays off. You've been down the road of despair and you brought yourself up, and nothing to sneeze at. That's something to be proud of, and but you can't always you can't make people see something that like that. Maybe they're just like you, right? They have hard times too, and sometimes they don't see those things that they're doing at that time, but I'm sure they know deep down. You know what I mean? It's just I know how it is, right? Because I'm like that all the time, constantly, always thinking that, and try not to, right? Try not to, because I always try to remember that people see other things, and they see how awesome you are when you don't see how awesome you are, and you see how awesome they are when they don't see it at all neither. So, I have nothing but love for my peeps. You know what I mean? So if I talk to you and stuff like that, it's I like you, and I think nothing but positive things for you. But if I don't talk to you, it ain't because I don't like you. It's like I just had to block some people recently, so some negative people out of my life, right? People that are like, I'm down bad, and it almost seems like they want advice, and they talk about whatever, and then you're like, all right, well, dude, you gotta get up from that. You gotta, be positive. But they don't really want to. They just want a pity party. They want to sit there and be like, do it for me. You know what I mean? And that's when I'm like, nah, I'm good. I can't do that for you. You have to do it yourself. What's gonna happen? You're gonna come to my house and take over my house and, try to sleep in my my kid's room or something, you know what I mean? And not pay any rent or not have a job or something. No, you should probably go to work or at least go to school. Times are going to be hard if you go to school, yes. But that's your choice, and it's going to make for a better tomorrow. Hopefully, if you finish out that degree and, land a job somewhere and, be a decent human being, you know what I mean? And but if you're just going to sit there and be like, oh, the world sucks, I hate it, I'm depressed, and, but do nothing about it, and just try to lay around all day crying about how depressed you are, but don't want to help nobody but yourself, and, stuff like that. You're not even helping yourself. Like, what are you doing, You got to get out there. You got to start working. You got to start trying to be better, And how do you do that? By laying at home and being a burden on people that care for you. You know what I mean? And dispose of them just because they tell you the truth and they're not going to spoil you. You're not a kid, When you're an adult, you have responsibilities, right? You have to go to work to pay your bills, to live, to eat, to do what you want to do, essentially, right? Nobody's gonna hand it to you. Nobody hands it to anybody else. Like, come on, man, or girls, whoever, But I just that's for whoever, I'm never gonna be a person that turns my back on anybody for no reason like that, I don't even turn my back on those other people, like those people that just sit there and because I am, some people took advantage of my kindness over the years, right? And that's where I learned that sometimes, even though you care so much and you want to see those people succeed and you don't want to see them go down that path and stuff like that, you still can't do it for them. You can't help. You do a little bit of help, that you give them an inch, they take a mile, and stuff like that. Yeah, all right, it's different when they're doing something for themselves, or when they're doing stuff for their family, when they're chasing something, that's different. That's different than somebody there that just tries to have you pity them and feed into their BS and not want to do nothing to help themselves be better, to help their own family, and stuff like that. If it could be your own family too, and it's the sucky part. Sometimes you try your best to help them see, and they never try, and then they end up turning to drugs and alcohol and stuff, and people like keep giving them money, and they follow down that road, and they continue down it. You can't do nothing but pray for them, like it sucks. I have so many family members myself like that, and it sucks, dude. It sucks to see them like that, homeless shelters, and every time you see them, let me hold $5. My buddy's gonna come pay me back. It's like, who's gonna come give you? Who's coming 5 hours away from the cities to come give you $20? Like, what are you talking about? You know what I mean? And that's not me like dissing them or anything like that, but like they just always lie about those things, and they're so far into those drugs that they're willing to lie. They're willing to sell their bodies. They're willing to give it all up for that stuff. It's a harsh reality, and it's been here for a long time. It's been here. That sickness has been here forever. I've been a part of that sickness, right? That battle against myself. So, yeah, I'm no Messiah. I'm no God or anything like that. And I'm not, like, all these rambles are never for anything like that. It's just to express those things. And, one day when somebody's fighting that battle, and then they kind of see these things, when they're expecting somebody to pull them up, maybe they'll see that it's them, right? They've been looking for themselves to do it the whole time. So if not, if you know, if you don't, like, nobody's got to watch these things, right? There's a high possibility nobody does, and I can live with that. I know a few people do watch, most of them, if not all of them, and I'm extremely grateful for you guys, and I appreciate it. Yeah, I get to do some cool stuff with some people, like go looking for Bigfoot or something like that, If anybody wants to hit me up during a weekend and you want to do something, hit me up, let me know. I was trying to get some paranormal experience. Some people were talking about like the headless lady and all this kind of stuff around like Lingby, Minnesota. Because I don't want to just check out all these spots at most haunted places in Minnesota type stuff. I wanted to check out some places that ain't nobody heard of, right? Because a lot of my ghost experiences come from places nobody knows about, that old church, that Heart of the Earth. I know my uncle said he had some experiences there when he was a kid. He's one of the first kids to go to that survivor school when it was bought from the church, right, and converted over to Heart of the Earth, or Odeaki when it was closed. Odeaki is Heart of the Earth in Ojibwe, but it was an old building. I think it was built late 1800s, so they had a few priests kill themselves and stuff like that in that building. Very weird. I had dreams about that place before I even went there, and the same dreams since. I had it a few times. I had this one dream like probably 6 times now in my life, and I'll never forget that place. I'll remember that place in my heart. I'll remember it from, because I ran all through that school, when I was a kid too, because I went there during elementary, but 6th and 7th grade, I believe. Yep, 6th, 7th grade. And I did have a dream about it when I was in like 4th or 5th grade and stuff like that. But, it could be creepy. And not everybody's going to believe you, which, when you tell them stories like that, I can understand why it's hard to believe. And at my, had other places. We had this house in Brooklyn Center. My parents had this house. It was like full of mold, so we were always sick 'cause we had asthma, me and my siblings and we all had asthma growing up, and at that house we would just always be sick. Before our youngest sister was born, it was my younger brother and my oldest younger sister, and we would always be sick because of the asthma and from the black mold in the house that we didn't know was there. Because my dad, he said he went there, and because he became a plumber a little bit later, he ended up doing work on that house and found a lot of black mold in the siding and stuff like that, or not the siding, but the sheetrocks and stuff down in the basement. So that explained a lot why my little brother, because he was the worst. He was, he's the luckiest to be alive, my young brother, and because his asthma was that bad, and if it wasn't for technology at that time being as advanced as it was, none of us would be alive. Simply, all of us would be dead, right? So we're grateful about that. Lucky, very lucky, right? Because if it was 50 years earlier, easily, maybe even 2010, we'd be dead. Not here. Simply wouldn't exist. Or we'd be a little bit older, but highly unlikely because we had asthma from my mom smoking a lot, That's one of the side effects for people that smoke while they're pregnant, and stuff like that. But that house was haunted as fuck, and I do believe I told that ghost story about that. And then my grandpa's house in Crystal, Minnesota, man. Hopefully they didn't knock that building down, but that house was really haunted. A lot of weird stuff happened in that house. I'm not in too much contact with a lot of family from then, but they had their own weird ghost encounters happen there too, along with myself there, and a lot of creepy stuff. So a lot of the creepiest things happen in places that aren't known as the scariest place or whatever, and those are kind of like the places I want to go to. That's awesome. So to me, that kind of stuff is cool. So if anybody has weird ghost places that aren't really known or anything like that, feel free to hit me up, especially if you're in Minnesota. I'm willing to travel. The Gamster, my boy Matty from the Gravy Nail, Negligence. In other words, if you know him as at his not stage name, but his artist name, because he does music and stuff too. We're looking for places this coming up spring. If anybody has anything, we're willing to travel, and hit us up, let us know, and you can hit us up you can hit me up at cloudslayer53@gmail.com, and if you want to check out the Gravy Nail stuff, it's the Gravy Nail. I don't know if he still has the email up for that or not, but you can hit me up here and let me know if you guys got anywhere weird. You guys want to take us on a tour or something, if it's your house or whatever, we'll be down to go check it out, So like I said too, got an opportunity to go smudge out my buddy Kyle's house, and I didn't see anything weird, but I did feel a presence there. But he had said that it does seem to be a lot better since then, and that hasn't really had any experiences like paranormal type stuff and stuff like that. So I'm glad. So, but anyways, thanks guys. I let this one go on again, but hope to see you guys again. I hope you guys have a very Merry Christmas, and that you stay positive, that you stay away from that negative mindset, and that you're better than you think you are, that other people see things that you don't necessarily see. So peace out, guys.